Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest at this evening to kick off this Independence Day Eve edition of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio is a indie pro wrestler from Illinois, and I am joined with Sarah Summers. She's with me right now. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing real good, and I want to first and foremost thank you for calling in this evening, considering we are heading into a holiday weekend. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
All right, Sarah, let's go ahead and begin. How did you get started into wrestling? How did it all start off for you?
I've always been a wrestling fan. I've always watched it on TV and all that jazz. I got into it actually by accident. I have a friend, and he ran a wrestling promotion, and they needed a guest commentator one night, and he called and asked me if I wanted to do it. And it all just kind of snowballed from there. I went in and I did commentary, and then I ended up valeting a couple of guys and started training and decided I liked it and had a little bit of an knack for it. So the rest, as they say, is history.
It's interesting that you say that it was an accident. I guess
It was.
I guess it was a blessing in disguise, if you will. So did you, when you say accident, do you mean like you had like concerns of what to expect?
No, it was, it was always something that I wanted to do. I just never really knew how to get into it. Um, and it was just, you know, a happy accident that he happened to need a commentator that night, and they decided I was pretty good on the microphone, so they tried me other places, and in an effort not to get hurt or hurt anybody else, I started doing the basic training just so that I knew, how not to get hurt. And I decided that I really loved it. I loved being in a ring. I loved performing. So I went with the rest of the training, and it's just something that fit, something I needed.
Well, let me just say from, you know, watching your wrestling, whether it's on YouTube or the pictures of your wrestling photos, it looks like that you're making the most of this opportunity, and you like what you do, and you wouldn't trade it
I
for
love what
anything.
I do.
Oh, and I wanna ask you this. This past weekend, you was part of a quite a busy wrestling weekend. You was part of a custom wrestling company called Magnificent Ladies Wrestling, and it was
hmm
a huge weekend for the company in particular because the owner Destiny, that weekend marked her 1 year anniversary since being in charge of the company.
Yeah.
So how did that came about? Did she reach out to you? Did you reach out to her? Like, how did it all came about?
I reached out to her. I had wrestled a couple of girls that had done custom matches, and it was something I was curious about. So I asked them, who do I get in contact with, and they told me to get a hold of Destiny, and I messaged her on Facebook, and we started talking from there. I was actually supposed to be on in June, but the dates got switched on me, and it was a conflict. So I went, or May, I'm sorry, and I went this past month in June, and I will be back again in August.
That's awesome. So, for people that missed out on the tapings, you can get another opportunity to book Sarah to a match. You can go to magnificentladieswrestling.com for all the details. And I think
Yeah.
Destiny has the lineup for. Actually, she's got July lineup right now, but she eventually will give you the full list of August. So,
Yeah, she's got the July lineup up right now, and the August taping is the 22nd of August. Or no, 23rd. I'm sorry, 23rd.
and once the downloads are purchased, you can download them, or you can purchase the downloads at magnificentladieswrestling.com. And I'll definitely make sure to purchase a Sarah Summers download. for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. It
So
was really fun. I had a really good time. I met a lot of cool girls that I had never met before, and we had some pizza and some cake to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. It was a good time.
that's awesome. So, who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career? The type of people that stood out to you and made you really want to get into becoming a wrestler?
I mean, as far as like mainstream guys that everybody would know,
It could be
is that what you
mainstream
mean?
or indie circuit, just anyone that in particular.
In particular, the very first wrestler that I ever saw wrestle, I think I was 10 or 11 years old, was Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. And I was immediately attracted to his his presence in the ring. Not to mention his ridiculous in-ring skills. I mean, they called him Mr. Perfect for a reason. But just his charisma and the showmanship of everything, the pageantry, the costume. I mean, it was just something that I thought was really cool, and I was attracted immediately to wrestling right then. As far as influences go, I do use a lot of his moves. Actually, I do a lot of Mr. Perfect's move sets in my matches. A lot of guys on the indie scene have helped me out, and I consider them big influences. A lot of ladies on the indie scene have helped me out and hooked me up with shows and stuff. And there's just so many people, so many people that have influenced my career and influenced my training that there's not enough time in the world to thank them all.
Well, I, for one, am a fan of Mr. Perfect, and when you have a name like that, you better live up to it. And I
Yeah.
gotta say that he did live up to it, and then some, and just how technical savvy he was, and just and I will never forget the one time he did a promo when he played multiple sports, and he just made it look so easy. So
Yeah,
he was quite the athlete.
he
So
was.
he was definitely is. Um, so in addition to the MLOW tapings you have coming up in August, do you have any upcoming indie shows that you would like to promote?
I will be in Garland, Tennessee. I do believe it's called SWCW. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a new place. I've never been there before. I'll be there next Saturday, July 12th. And as far as July goes, I've got a kid with a birthday, so I don't do a whole lot of traveling in July. So I like to save my money up and do something special for her birthday. But August, I'm looking into some bookings in Tennessee and possibly Indiana. So plus the MLO thing on the 23rd.
Well, the Indiana just so happens to be close to where I reside, which is Kentucky. So I definitely may need to look into checking out a Sarah Summers show near me. I would love to see you wrestle in Kentucky, but Indiana, that's a bit close. I mean, I'll see what I can do.
Kentucky's one of those rare states that requires you to have a license
Yeah.
to wrestle. I'm trying to get one. I just haven't really had time to sit down and fill out all the paperwork and get the physicals and all that stuff. It's
That's
not ridiculously expensive or anything. It's just time consuming.
I completely understand. I completely understand fully. So what also I want to ask you, I read one of your Facebook posts, and you mentioned John Cena, and you happen to be a fan of his, and let me say that I also happen to be a fan of his as well. And I feel like at this point of his career, um, he may never be, I guess, appreciated for what he really has done for that company. I mean, I get people hate him winning every match, every other matches or whatever case may be, or just the same character he's been for over a decade now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy has done so much. He's helped. elevate people such as Edge and CM Punk and many others. And I mean, when you definitely want to make a name for yourself, you got to go through him. And until he decides to hang up his, well, not necessarily boots, but his jorts and shorts and shoes and whatnot, they're going to rely on him for a long time. So I think people just need to deal with it and just look. If you want to cheer for him, fine. If you're going to boo for him, whatever. He's not going to hate you for it.
No, he's not. To be perfectly honest, I was on the John Cena, hate John Cena bandwagon for a while, but somebody bought me his DVD, the John Cena Experience, and I watched it, and it opened up a whole. You see him in a completely different light, and he's the first one in the building at every show. He's the last one to leave at every show. The charity work that he does alone is enough to should be enough to earn anyone's respect. There's a reason that he's the most asked for celebrity with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. There's a reason for that. And he's a perfect role model for kids. My 7-year-old absolutely loves him. I don't know if you saw that picture, her throwing up the John Cena sign after he won last weekend. She's like, "Da, da, da, da," just jumping around the living room. She loves him. And I'm okay with that. Wow. Because I think he's a positive role model. It's the hustle, loyalty, respect, rise above that whole thing. I think he's amazing in everything that he does.
I just like how he just doesn't let the hate get to him, because sometimes when people get that hate, they may not be able to handle it. But in his case, I mean, for a decade, and he doesn't let it get to him. He doesn't retaliate. He doesn't respond with hate.
No, he encourages it.
He's just like, look, I'm here to entertain in front of you. Cheer me, fine. If you boo me, whatever. I still got a job to do, and whatever reaction you get, I'm gonna give it all I got. So
yeah,
I mean, people just and it is what it is. So
and he encourages them to boo. He's like, you paid your hard-earned money to come watch me. You do what you want. You react how you want.
Absolutely. So Sarah, as far as matches is concerned, like, or better yet, in your wrestling career for that matter, is there any of your favorite matches, favorite moments, storyline angles that stood out to you the most?
Oh, goodness. My all-time favorite match has to be against the man that trained me, Tony Flood. He's a local independent wrestler down here in Illinois and up in central Illinois. And I had a lot of trainers. It took me a while to actually get the physical aspects of the job. But he took so much time, and he was so patient. And then when I finally got it, it just kind of rolled into place. And one of my very first matches was against him, and I pinned him. And I think that's, as my trainer, that was him saying, you're ready, kid, go. And that to me will stand out for the rest of my life, that he did that for me.
That's awesome. And I gotta say that for you, Sarah, I got a lot of respect for you for what you've been able to done, what you've been able to accomplish, and just how far you have come. You are someone that fans should be proud of. That you take this seriously. You put your bodies on the line. All the wrestlers, for that matter, babyface or heel, whatever the case may be. I'm a fan of many sports, but I consider wrestlers, whether it's indie and pro, the toughest athletes in the world, because they have to put their bodies on the line and then some. It's not just sprain elbows or ankles. It's bones could be broken, and wrestlers not only they gotta take be mindful of themselves, of their well-being, but they're opponent's well-being as well. And I don't think a lot of fans quite understand. They just see two people in the ring that they just want to beat each other up. And yeah, you know, they portray this characters obviously, but they have to be mindful of the person because you know they are put in harm's way and they got families to feed and whatnot. And
Yeah.
maybe eventually fans will get it, but I don't know. It's just one of the I guess misconceptions of what fans what they see, whether it's indies or in the pros.
I mean, it's not just taxing on our bodies. I mean, it's taxing on our emotions, on our minds, because we don't get an off season. It's there's no off season in wrestling. It's every weekend, every month, every year. And as far as the emotional taxing, I mean, it can get to you after a while if you don't have some pretty tough skin. It's not for everybody. Because the fans, they say some pretty outlandish things, and if you don't have tough enough skin to handle that, you know. But I mean, you're slipping into character mode for 10, 20 minutes, or however long your match is supposed to be, and you know you've got to grab that character and remember that hey, they're not booing me, they're booing Sarah Summers. They're not, you know. You have to be able to separate the two, and some people can't do it. It's like I said, it's not for everybody.
So what I want to ask you is, considering the interaction with fans, especially if you are a heel and all, has there been a moment when a fan has said something to you that even you feel it went too far and just want to say, forget the character, I'm me, and I'm gonna say something? Has there ever been a fan on any show that has said something that makes you want to, man, forget this. I'm really gonna have a problem with this person.
Not yet. The only time that I ever actually see that happening is if a fan makes some sort of physical move towards me. You know, they paid their hard-earned money. They can say whatever they want. That's fine. It's not good. It's no sweat off my back. It's their dollar. They paid to see me. Let them say whatever they want to say. I've had cheese thrown at me. I've had soda bottles thrown at me. I've been called every name under the sun. I've heard every fat joke that you can possibly hear, and I just shrug it off, or I'll give it right back to them because, you know, if you want to pay your money to do that, then I'm going to give you your money's worth. Let's battle this out. But no, I don't ever see that, and they would almost have to say something about my kids for me to for me to snap like that. But no, it's their dollar, it's their dime. So
Okay, I can understand that. I mean, towards you is off limits, but the children, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you
as long as they don't make a physical move, as long as their hands do not touch me, they're safe. Like, don't touch the performers, because then it's on.
That's right, and I'm sure the promoter, the ring announcer, will. And I think that's something that ring announcers need to do more often, especially in indie shows, because the wrestlers get, the fans get closer to the wrestlers than, say, a WWE TNA show, and they can easily tap you on the shoulder out of the blue, and you looking at them like, what the hell you doing?
Yeah.
So, well, Sarah, one more question I want to ask you now. For people that wants to promote, for people that wants to learn more of you, up and coming shows and things like that, why don't you go ahead and promote your links?
Promote my links. Well, I'm on Facebook, Sarah Summers. I also have Twitter. It's Sarah B. Summers on Twitter. And then my Instagram is Sarah Summers 2005.
Wow,
I usually post a list of my matches every so often on Facebook, along with random Sarah facts that nobody knows. Every once in a while, you get one of those.
That's awesome. I'm checking out your Facebook page right now. That's a default picture of you elbowing someone, and I'm curious, who is that person you're elbowing?
That is Miss Rachel.
Oh, okay. Now I kind of recognize her. Yeah.
That
What?
was a thrill too. I learned a lot from her. She's a vet, and it's always nerve wracking when you step into the ring with somebody that's been doing it a long time. But she was cool. It wasn't my best match ever, but it was a good match. So, and I learned a lot from her. Because she's not a small woman. She's a large girl. She's tall. She's a big girl. So, as far as being a big girl in the business, I learned a lot from her.
Cool. Well, Sarah, it was very nice to chat with you, and thank you so much for being on the show, and especially again on this upcoming holiday weekend. And look, your last name is Summers, and here we are in summertime, so there should be the summer of Sarah Summers. Look, moving forward. Again, thank you for being on the show, and
Thank you for having me.
you have any final words and comments?
No, I just want to thank you for having me, and I apologize that I couldn't be on last week. That was a last-minute, real-life situation came up, so.
As a person, that has a similar real life situation that you had, I completely understand, and it's all good.
But thanks for rescheduling and having me back on. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye bye.